Hello and welcome to Newsbreak Chats. Ako po si Chai Hofilenya, ang editor ng Newsbreak. Ito ang investigative at in-depth section ng Rappler. Katatapos lang ng State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Duterte noong July 22. Bago nito, may malaking controversy na sumabog at ito ay nangyari nung binangga ng isang mas malaking Chinese trawler ang isang fishing vessel na may pangalang Gemver. Lulan nito ang 22 Filipino fishermen. Ngayong Hulyo, pag-uusapan natin ang dalawang major incidents na ito, ang Gemver at ang SONA 2019. Makakasama natin sa ating kwentuhan ngayong araw na ito ang dalawang reporters na tumutok sa Gemver issue. Ito ay sina Rambo Talabong at si Sofia Tomacruz. Kasama rin natin si Pia Ranada na siyang nagko-cover ng presidency at si Glenda Gloria na managing editor ng Rappler. Hello sa inyong lahat.
Hello.
Hi. Magsimula siguro tayo sa Gemver kasi ito yung naunang nangyari. Rambo, ikaw yung kauna-unahang pumunta doon among the Rappler reporters, no? When you went there, what is it that you saw and what struck you the most?
Okay, so yung pagpunta dun mismo sa San Jose, talagang kailangan namin pumunta dun through Roro, and when we arrived there was a lot of water. As in, kitang-kita na mahalaga sa mga tao sa San Jose ang tubig. Kasi marami nagtatrabaho doon bilang mga bakero at saka mismo talagang mangingisda. At ang una talagang ginawa namin ay maghintay kasi wala pa sila doon sa San Jose. Sinundo pa lang sila doon sa reed bank ng Navy.
Hindi pa nakakarating.
Hindi pa sila nakakarating. So, naghintay pa kami ng mga 3 oras para makarating sila malapit sa San Jose. At doon sa Philippine Navy ship sa BRP Alcaraz, pinuntahan namin ng media, 1 hour going there. Tapos ayun, puro tubig lagi. At saka nakita namin sila, kasama ko kasi si Sir Lian na ating photo chief at saka si Napi na videographer.
So, tatlo kayo?
Tatlo kami. Nung una, talagang hindi ko alam kung paano sila kausapin at saka hindi ko alam kung paano sila lalapitan. Kasi galing lamang sila sa napaka-traumatizing na karanasan.
Yes.
Talagang matitigas yung mukha nila at lagi sila nakatingin sa baba habang naglalakad. Kahit nasabihin ng Navy na nandito na ang 21 na tao ng Gemver, yung mekaniko kasi nila kasama nung bangka na naiwan pa. At natakot akong lapitan sila. Pero nung kinausap naman namin ng media at nung tinutukan sila ng camera, lumabas naman yung kanilang eagerness para magkwento. At lumabas na nga yung storya, paulit-ulit, binangga kami. Hindi namin alam kung saan sila nanggaling. Bukas naman yung aming ilaw at iniwan kami ng Chinese fishing vessel nung kami binangga.
Ang common perception is that ang magsasaka ang pinakamahirap na sektor. Not very many are aware of the fisherfolk, yung fishing sector. Pwede mo bang i-describe ano yung pamumuhay nila?
Ang pamumuhay kasi ng mga sa Gemver, siguro tama nga rin na pinakamahirap din ng mga magsasaka, pero iba rin yung pamamalakad ng buhay ng mga mangingisda. Ang tawag nila pamalakayan yung kung paano sila mangisda talaga. Ang pagiging mangingisda, sinasabi nila palagi, maaaring mamatay pa sila palagi sa tuwing pumapalaot sila. Kasi pwede silang malunod kung magtatrabaho sila. Ang magsasaka, makayuko lang, nagtatanim, napapagod. Pero mga mangingisda, kung nalunod sila, hindi na talaga sila pwedeng isalba. So, ang mga tao sa Gemver, ang pamamalakayan nila, ang ginagawa nila, once a month, pumupunta sila sa reed bank. Nagtatagal sila doon ng 2 linggo hanggang sa makakuha sila ng isda na 4 na tonelada para makuha yung kanilang quota. Kasi kung hindi nila naabutan yung quotang yon, magkakaroon sila ng utang sa kanilang amo. At pagkabalik nila, kahit na marami silang isdang dala, kung kulang yun, may utang pa rin sila at nababaon sila ng utang. So, dito sa nangyari yung pagbangga ng China, hindi pa sila nakakaabot ng kanilang quota, nabangga sila, nawala lahat ng kanilang nahuling isda, at muntikan pa silang mamatay.
So, super high risk.
High risk, low returns.
Oo.
At ayun, wala sila palagi sa piling ng kanilang pamilya kasi lagi silang nasa dagat.
After nung first coverage, 'di ba, nag-decide na bumalik. Ano yung reason behind that? At saka, I think at the time kasama na si Sofia, 'di ba?
Yes. Dun sa story na yun, actually, parang nagkaroon kami ng small story conference ni Ma'am Glenda, nandito siya ngayon, na naisip niya na parang kailangan talagang balikan yung mga mangingisda kasi hindi pa talaga na ikwento ng detalyado yung kanilang naranasan. Kasi nung pumunta ako doon, talagang blow by blow talagang sagutan yung mga mangingisda at saka yung gobyerno na itong nangyari sa amin. Tapos sasabihin ng gobyerno, hindi, maaaring hindi totoo yung sinasabi nyo. So parang reaction at
He
parang
said, she
reaction
said.
na rin. He said, she said. At saka meron namang ebidensya doon sa mismong Jamber site kasi kitang-kita yung bangka, butas. Pero yung pakikipag-usap sa kanila doon sa gabing iyon mismo, hindi natin nagawa doon sa unang 5 araw kasi dire-diretso talaga. Ang daming mga nagsasalita, ang daming ingay. So after a few days, ayun, sinabi namin na dapat bumalik tayo para malaman yung tunay na nangyari ng gabing iyon, upuan sila isa-isa, at hayaan sila magkwento nang walang pumipigil sa kanila kahit ng gobyerno nila.
Nung bumalik kayo, this time with Sofia, parang meron bang hesitation na eto na naman, parang kasi media medyo intrusive minsan, di ba? Parang in grief na nga, tragic event na nga, tapos heto na naman, inserting themselves, reporters inserting themselves at nag-uurirat, nagtatanong. How did you approach them?
Well, talaga yung the target was really to try and talk to all 22 of them. And that was difficult because although willing sila mag-share ng kwento, experience, they all had different ways of coping. And we immediately saw that when we arrived in San Jose and we got to the house, we saw all of them. Some are definitely more talkative than others. Some aren't even willing to talk, identify themselves with Gemver. So the easiest way, of course, to do it was we divided amongst ourselves. You take 11, I take 11. We need to hit a certain target each day. If not, then let's see how we can regroup and do better the next day. But it was really just, I think what really worked was, not forcing them to talk if they weren't willing to talk yet. Because, for example, we would approach them and say, "Oh, Kuya, Denver ka ba? Can we talk to you?" And if they would say, "No, not yet," or "No, later, let me eat first." Okay, then just, even though the reporter inside of you is like, "I need to talk to you already because there are 20 more,
May deadline ako.
there are 21 more others and I'm not here forever." Like, okay. And so that's kind of what we did day by day. And it was just what I saw was when they saw each other kind of sharing stories with us, I think others were more willing to talk afterwards. And I really wanted to go there because by that time, nag-umpisa na yung he said, she said, the doubting, and so it was so obvious that wait, the very people who were in the situation, yung mga 22 fishermen of Denver, they had no voice yet. And that they were the very people who were in that scenario in the middle of the night, in open seas and water, who were left abandoned, and they weren't being listened to, or no one had asked them yet, each one of them, what happened exactly.
Glenda, what prompted you to ask them to go back?
Yeah. Well, actually, this is a one-of-a-kind story, di ba? It doesn't happen every day. Tapos, 22 sila. And yung iligay mo yung konteksto ng the last 3 years of the president, it could be at a turning point in the way the narrative has played out vis-a-vis Philippines and China. Tapos tagos sa puso ang issue ng China sa mga Pilipino. Tapos mangingisda pa sila. Ito yung base ni Presidente, mga mahihirap, mga marginalized sectors. Tapos talagang grabe kasi yung ibang narrative ng government So, magandang balikan habang fresh pa. Kasi di ba pagka next month mo papuntahan, baka iba na yung kwento, which nangyari din naman later on, di ba? So magandang makapture, parang kakaiba siyang kwento. Kasi tragic, problematic, pero yung hope, yung courage, yung ang ganda pa rin ng ending kahit paano. So all the elements of a good story are there.
And were you able to capture those elements?
We'd like to hope that you saw that we captured these sentiments. But I guess, naranasan din namin yung storya bilang reporters talaga yung Tagos talaga sa puso yung kanilang kwento. At nakakapagbigay rin ng pag-asa. Bilang sa mga reporter, yung pagkwento talaga ng kanilang naranasan. Kasi kahit sila mismo, kahit na nakikita nila araw-araw na butas yung kanilang bangka, patuloy pa rin sila magtrabaho at umuoo pa rin sila sa dagat na babalik sila doon at magtatrabaho.
Pero wala naman kasi silang choice.
Wala nga rin talaga
Diba?
silang
Pero
choice.
curious ako, dun sa mga na-interview nyo, sino yung pag-uwi nyo dito sa Manila na alala nyo lagi?
Ako, naalala ko yung dalawang rower. Si Justin at si JP.
Yung
Kasi,
pumuntang
yeah.
towards the Vietnamese
Yeah.
ship.
And medyo contrasting din sila in the sense na batang-bata si Justin kasi 21 lang siya. Tapos JP is 31, although he's considered one of the younger ones because the age gap is so big. But at least for JP, he's been with Jember for over a decade. Of course, given na din na naalala ko yung si Janelle Insigne and his wife, Lani, who we were joking that in the end, she was sort of like a spokesperson
Yeah. Tapa, no?
for Janelle, and that if media wanted to talk to Janelle, they had to go through Lani. Like, Lani!
Ang babae talaga.
Tapos si Cap,
Uh-uh.
and she's like, mamaya na or something. But going back to Justin and JP, I really remember the both of them because, their story was also really extraordinary. The way that they rode in the middle of the night, in darkness,
Yeah.
to find, just literally guided by that one light. It was like their North Star. And them saying to each other, don't leave me, row faster, wait for me. That really stayed with me. And also their reactions to us as media. Actually, one of the biggest challenges was you really wanted to get all these details out. What did they say to each other? What were they thinking? But you didn't want to be the trigger of that very traumatic experience, because when the interviews are done and they're a little bit more comfortable with you, they'll tell you, I can't sleep because if I sleep, then I remember the boat. If I'm
Yeah.
awake, I remember the boat. Late at night, I remember the boat. And so, but you're like, why? Of course. And so that was really the biggest challenge, knowing when to stop asking them questions or to push a little further.
Para sa akin naman, nabanggit naman ni Sofia na talaga si Lani Insigne, asawa ni Kapitan. Una ko siya nakita sa dalampasigan, naghihintay siya sa kanyang asawa. Nakatingin lang talaga siya sa dalampasigan kasi hinahanap niya yung isla kung nasan ba talaga siya o nasa bangka. Kasi yung unang impormasyon na pumasok sa kanila, nasa islang puti na malayo yung kanyang asawa. So sumisilip siya, nasaan ba? Tapos nalaman niya later na nasa Navy nga. So naghintay na lang siya sa ilalim ng puno kasi papagod daw siya. Ang nakakatuwa kay Lani yung kanyang boses dito sa storyang to talaga, na kahit na talagang lagi sinasabi ng gobyerno na hindi tama, maaaring hindi tama, binibigyan talaga ng duda yung kanilang pagkikwento. Si Lani pa mismo minsan yung nagtutulak sa asawa niya na sabihin mo yung kwento mo kasi mahalaga yan. Kailangan mo lumabas ng bahay.
Sabihin mo ang totoo.
Kasi yung kapitan, talagang nakahiga na lang sa bahay, nanonood na lang ng TV, showtime, as in noontime shows. Sila yung talagang pagawin mo na. Lalabas talaga yung kapitan. At isa rin siya sa nakaka-inspire sa tingin ko yung kanyang kwento pa rin sa kababaihan dun sa storyang to. Kasi yung mga babae, naghihintay din sila at hindi rin sila artikulado. Nakatulad ni Lani na dire-diretso siya magsalita. Pero yung mga kababaihan dun kasi talagang tahimik, naghihintay. Pero talagang alam mong pare-pareho rin yung ginagawa nila. Sila yung may hawak ng pitaka, sila yung nag-aalaga ng mga bata, at sila rin yung naghihintay dito sa mga asawa para makauwi. At yung isa pa, kung madadagdag ko lang, si Joven Jacinto na lasingero siya. So makikita mo rin na hindi lahat sila kasi tatag ni for example ni Boy Cordiones na mekaniko na naghahanda na bumalik.
Yes.
Si Joven Jacinto na nakatanggap ng maraming tulong, libo-libo,
Oo.
ginagastos niya para sa alak.
So nalustay.
Nalustay din. So nalungkot ako dun sa story niya. Iniisip ko nasa na kaya siya ngayon, anong ginagawa niya ngayon.
Nung paalis na kayo, meron ba silang binilin na, siyempre alam nila reporters kayo and you'll be writing about them. Meron ba silang huling bilin? Wala.
Ang lagi ko naririnig is, huwag niyo po kaming kalimutan ha. O kung pupunta kaming Manila, huwag niyo kaming kalimutan ha.
Kaibigan na kami sa Manila. nila.
May kaibigan na kami, iikot kami. Kasi talagang hindi inikot. Pero inupuan talaga namin sila at nakakwentuhan namin sila. At hindi ko alam kung dapat banggitin. Pero niyayaya nila kami uminom ng hapon.
Uminom ka ba?
naman.
Ilang shot para nang kwentuhan sa kanila rin. Ng Red Horse.
Of course.
Ikaw rin, Sofia?
Yan, shot lang.
Hindi bote
Oo, shot.
Okay, sige. Mamaya nyo na ikwento yung iba.
Pia, nagulat ka ba sa reaction ng Pangulo dito sa Denver incident na to?
Hindi masyado kasi kung ikukumpara mo sa reaction niya sa iba't ibang Chinese issues, yung
Yes.
aggression sa West Philippine Sea, talagang minsan may lag time bago siya mag-react. Either pinaprocess pa rin niya or hindi pa niya masyadong naiintindihan kung gaano ka-significant yung reception ng mga tao dun sa nangyari. So, hindi lang sa West Philippine Sea. Like, may mga issues talaga na he waits a few days before reacting. Like, yung isang issue that comes to mind talaga yung Senate hearing ni Edgar Matobato, tsaka ni Las Cañas. As in, syempre, the speech right after ng hearings na yun, we were all waiting for him to mention one of them, like say, lies yung sinasabi nila, hindi totoo. Pero talaga naghihintay siya ng a few days before reacting. Either nagigauge siya kung ano yung dapat niyang sabihin or tinitingnan niya muna yung mga reactions. In the case of the Denver incident, napansin ko na nag-react siya and he led with the criticisms about the government response. So it's almost as if mag-react lang siya after nakita niya yung reactions sa mga ibang tao. Then
Those
meron na
below
siyang
him.
sasabihin. Yeah, even the fact na wala siyang sinasabi. So yun. And yun, parang meron talaga siyang parang trying to wait the issue out, or another way of looking at it, some shared by political analysts, is iba yung definition ni Duterte ng crisis. Like para sa atin, it's such a big deal kasi
Yes.
iniwan sila, China ito, and not a lot of Filipinos trust China. Pero in the eyes of certain analysts, the way Duterte gauges what's a crisis and what is not is very different. Like, look at how he described the incident. Wala naman namatay. Parang transportation incident lang siya, banggaan lang siya at sea. So, dina-downplay niya.
So, anong definition niya ng crisis?
Crisis is drug war, NPA insurgency,
Maraming namamatay.
or to do with peace and order na domestic. So, for him, like, territorial, like, in the land where mayor type, yung the borders he can see, hindi niya masyadong maybe hindi masyadong nagigets na yung EEZ, part of the Philippines rin yun in a way, and we have rights there that we must protect. Para sa kanya, territorial. I mean, sinasabi nga niya, they're not naman in the territorial waters. So he always says that to kind of say, wala namang parang sovereignty was not violated. Parang wala siyang concept of, pero sovereign rights, how about sovereign rights?
Were there other issues na na-surface nitong Denver? Kasi nga, yun na nga, one way of looking at it is, yan lang naman isolated incident lang naman yan Tapos 22 lang naman yan, wala namang namatay. Na-save naman yung ship, yung bangkang malaki. So, hindi siya of ganong proportion na dapat meron talagang gawin yung gobyerno. But are there other issues na palagay nyo dapat tingnan ng government?
Well, I mean, actually one thing a lot of experts were saying also, and a lot of people pointed out was, and now what's surfacing is the issue of just the fact that there are foreign vessels inside Philippine territory. And, well, last night, they had like a whole conference in South China Sea, and they were talking about how, Denver was really like the last, maybe not the last nail.
Yeah.
But it really made things. It was a point where things came to a head. But before that, people have already been saying, there are a lot of foreign fishing vessels inside Philippine territory, and the fishermen know this themselves. And so, I think one issue that really surfaced was that why are there foreign vessels, so many foreign vessels,
I
even
remember
inside?
seeing this map, di ba?
Yeah, even
Na ang
inside.
daming ilaw talaga.
Yeah, even inside our waters, and we're not
Yeah.
doing anything about it. And then, of course, the whole issue about we don't have the capability to patrol our own waters. Um, the 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 duty of doing so, the mandate of doing so, being passed from one agency to another. But I mean, in the end, you see these 22 fishermen, and you're like, okay, well, and then so what's next? Because it doesn't stop them from going back out to the sea, and so they're just there unprotected.
So helpless yes, go.
Interesting para sa akin na issue lumabas when we were already back here and doing field work at kinausap namin si former Philippine Coast Guard Commander Gongona who is still I think in charge of BFAR.
Right.
And what struck me about what he said is that food security can also be a national security issue.
Right.
At pwedeng atakihin daw yun sa ganong anggulo na ang ating mga pinapakain sa ating kababayan ay dapat nating kunin. Kasi ating tubig yan eh. Dapat yung mga Pilipino rin ang kumakain yan. At ang problema ng BFAR, laging pinoproblema ng BFAR tsaka ng Agriculture Department, kailangan umabot sa target kasi kailangan mura pa rin ang bilihin. Hindi dapat ini-import ang mga isda. At kung ang nakikita niya, kung patuloy na doon mangingisda ang mga Filipino, ang kanyang pag-iisip kasi sinusuportahan niya ang gobyerno is dapat ang mga mangingisda natin hindi na mangingisda doon. Dapat mangingisda sila mas malapit para hindi sila papahama. Pero binabanggit din niya minsan, nahuhuli namin, sabi niya na, pero meron pa rin tayong historic rates dyan eh. Talagang nangingisda tayo dyan at ilang henerasyon na rin binabalik-balikan yung date bank. So, kung tinanong namin, so paano yun? Kung sanay na talaga yung pamilya ng mga mangingisda na pumunta doon, saan kukuha ng isda? Hindi rin niya alam.
Excellent point yun, yung food as a national security issue. And nakakalimutan din siguro
Actually,
yun.
yun ang
Yes.
very frustrating sa government response. Kasi like, that's the reason I asked, ano bang krisis kay Presidente, di ba? Kasi matagal na panahon pa ni Ramos na ang national security is defined holistically. It's not just a question of insurgency, rebellion. It involves food security, digital security, your neighborhood, the right to life, and everything else. So, kaya naintindihan ko where Carpio is coming from eh. Kasi nakraft nila yun eh. And this is a resource issue. It's
And
not,
Carpio was part
was
of
presidential
Ramos's,
legal counsel of Ramos. And parang ang sense is not a question of war, going to war with China. It's a resource issue. Like you're forcing your fishermen by not maintaining your presence there. You're forcing the fishermen to actually fish. You're containing them. No, when dapat yung endless yung opportunity, pinapa-withdraw mo sila. Bakit sila mag-withdraw? Eh, sa iyo yan. 'Di ba? So, yun yung, anong effect nun? Di ba naalala mo yung si God Jones yata, yung gusto niya maganda yung bangka niya. Kasi baka pwedeng umabot sa Palawan yung aking barko. Hindi nila. So, di ba sa Coron, para umabot ng 6 hours. So, kita mo na naghahanap din sila. Kita kasi nila, shucks, hindi nila labanan ng gobyerno yung hindi nag-i-impose ng strength yung government sa presence niya sa West Philippine Sea. Maghahanap kami ng ibang kung saan tayo mangingisda. It limits their So, in the end, anong catch mo? Di malilimit din. So, kung limited ang catch mo, saan ang livelihood ng mga fisher ng coastal communities mo? Di mapupunta sa droga. Eh, hindi ba? Parang connected din yun eh. Pero kung ang presidente, ang tingin niya, hindi ganun, laking problema nun. Because whatever his policies now have consequences for the future generation.
Nagkaroon ba ng failure to explain or to connect? Kasi kung baga, yung sabi nyo nga, yung fishermen, ang dali-dali mong through their experiences and through their stories, parang mabubuhay mo yung isang abstract concept of well, not just sovereignty, but even, yun na nga, yung security. Pero, naging ganon yung sagot, yung response ng gobyerno. So, there was something wrong there. Parang either hindi na gets ng Malacanang or they refuse to see it because of other interests or bigger issues that they perceive to be more important. Ganun ba 'yon?
Kasi alam mo, gets ng Pilipino yon. Naiintindihan nila yung problema ng fishermen eh. Because if you talk to families, practically every family has a relative who's, or a friend whose family is in a coastal community, di ba? Or archipelago. Gets ng Pinoy yun eh, yung resource issue. Yung gobyerno ang refuses to take that angle. I'm convinced. The survey shows, di ba? Very sticky yung issue ng
Yes.
China. But on the other hand, di ba, may contradiction yan, but the president's approval ratings. Pero yun, parang, kaya it reinforces the belief that it's a China agenda that this government is pursuing, or at least they're towing that line. Kasi ordinary Filipinos, you talk, I mean, I'm sure you have your neighbors, your friends, they get it. It's a resource issue.
Sige, talon tayo sa China because you mentioned China. No? During the State of the Nation address, sinabi ni Presidente Duterte, and I will quote, sabi niya, China also claims the property and is in possession. Yan ang problema. Sila yung in possession and claiming all the resources there as an owner. We are claiming the same but we are not in the position because of that fiasco noong dalawang nag-stand off doon during the time of my predecessor. Tapos, sumagot siyempre, hindi palalampasin ni Justice Carpio yon, di ba? So sabi niya, China is not in possession of the West Philippine Sea. China is in possession of 7 features in the Spratlys plus Scarborough Shoal. In addition, during the Duterte administration, China seized Sandy Cay from the Philippines. The total area of these geologic features, including their territorial areas, is less than 7% of the West Philippine Sea. Ano ba to, Pia? Is this nagkamali lang si Pangulong Duterte? Hindi lang niya, nakalimutan lang ang kanyang geography? What do you think happened there?
I think what's happening here is a lot of times kinoconflate niya yung West Philippine Sea and the fact that it's so complex. It's made up of so many other features and it's actually a wide expanse.
Yeah.
And kinoconflate niya with just Scarborough Shoal because yun yung feature where he was able to enter a verbal agreement with Xi Jinping that they should allow both Chinese and Filipino fishermen to fish outside the lagoon but not inside. So yun yung one of the government calls it an achievement that they were able to at least let our fishermen fish dun sa may outside ng lagoon. So for him, because nagkaganong ang agreement with Xi, ngayon mahihiya siya kung i-prevent naman yung Chinese from fishing there. So I think that maybe on purpose din niya ginagawa na he's making the issue all about Scarborough because dun siya nagka-achievement, he won something there. So he can say therefore that because we did this, we have to compromise because we're parang tete-a-tete kind of thing. So but at the same time, parang may feeling din ako na in a way it's kind of a bluff because Duterte has this messaging, right? That it's such a pragmatic issue. Like even if there is this provision in the Constitution, the bottom line is I don't have enough ships to guard the whole West Philippine Sea.
Correct.
And China is a lot more powerful, has a lot more resources to do that. But at the same time, when you ask his cabinet members, the ones who will actually implement these laws, they say we will continue to prevent Chinese fishermen from fishing in our EEZ. Pero they always
So may
palagi silang
contradiction.
Oo, parang I even asked Lorenzana 2 days ago, sir, meron bang fishing agreement? Because the president mentioned it, that it's allowed in UNCLOS. Sa SONA, minention niya. So,
Right.
does that mean you will now draft a fishing agreement and you will determine the allowable catch? Kasi in UNCLOS it says that. So, sabi niya, I don't know of any agreement being drafted. I don't think it's necessary. Ganun siya. So, they had a hard time, like, really answering that question. And si Esperon would say that, of course, we will still protect our sovereign rights, but we only have 40 ships, Coast Guard ships, to man the EEZ.
So parang reality check din yun.
Parang we want to, but don't be surprised if we can't. So parang may little bit of course we have to implement the law, but as the president says. So parang they try to kind of stay within what the president says so that they can't be accused of contradicting him.
So tama rin naman si Duterte when he said, pag pinadala ko lahat ng mga sundalo, hindi sila makakabalik, patayin lahat.
But will China really kill with the mutual defense treaty?
Yeah. Actually, that's one thing that lately people are looking at Vietnam also in Malaysia to see how China's interacting with them, and they see that China's actually not. It's the same. They're not willing to use force, and during that like forum that I mentioned earlier, even the Chinese representative of the Navy, not speaking for the Navy, but he says, my opinion is China's also not ready to use force yet, because then that would just open a whole other can of worms. And what we're seeing there also is, China's not willing to use force, and so they're saying, Philippines, you should look at Vietnam and Malaysia, because Duterte always harps on war is going to happen, there's going to be more widows, more orphans.
May
and
war scenario siya.
I don't want that. And everyone's saying, well, that's really not going to happen if you just listen and look at your other options.
And engage in diplomacy.
And engage in the
Well, and this is a
Yeah.
president who loves war. I mean, drug war. I mean, who's so militaristic. But towards China, he's suddenly
Oo, very timid.
timid, di ba? So, parang contradiction talaga siya.
Oo. Okay, so we've approached the mid-year term of the president. What do you expect to happen in the last 3 years? Meron bang, kasi nga 3 years left, no? Will there be more urgency on his part to meet his targets, to meet his goals?
I think he's already identified the priorities that he thinks he needs to rush on, like yung traffic issue. He made it clear in his SONA na he no longer asks for emergency powers, if you noticed. So parang, okay, aminin natin, Congress won't give it to me, but I'm going to make the DILG enforce the traffic rules and suspend the mayors who won't, reclaim the public roads.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we saw him change tack. Parang na-realize ko siguro na, okay, kung walang emergency powers, iba na lang. Secondly, I think yung communist insurgency is something he really, really wants to get done. And you can see this in a bunch of EOs and issuances na even the cords, yung cabinet members being assigned to regions, that's primarily an anti-insurgency effort. So you can see parang it's really being discussed in command conferences. It's something that comes up in cabinet meetings. Of course, the drug war the crackdown on drugs is always going to be his priority. And you can see that with his push for death penalty. And it was also
Yeah.
the first issue he mentioned in his SONA. So I think those three will be the main priorities for the next 3 years.
Speaking of things that he didn't mention federalism and charter change. Is that totally out of the question, or do you think it will still happen?
The DILG seems to think it's still a go because even if Duterte didn't mention it, he also naman hasn't withdrawn yung order to promote federalism, and meron pa rin yung task force on federalism, and nandun pa rin yung draft. And I think si Alan Peter Cayetano was also saying they could still pull it off. So I think we'll have to see how that pans out in Congress. I think it's most to do with lawmakers and whether or not they think it will be one of their priorities amidst all the other priorities Duterte wants to get done. But also another thing he didn't mention, which stood out, was he didn't mention yung anti-endo bill. So he certified it as urgent September 2018, and it's supposed to lapse into law in 2 days.
Yeah.
So parang ano na. So we're all waiting kasi that's a major campaign promise, yung ending contractualization.
Glenda, what do you make of itong recent, well, is it an offensive of sorts, yung sa CIDG, no, and using the Bicoy affidavit, for example, and tinatarget talaga si Leni Robredo, and then you have talk about charter change and federalism. Do you see something there? Is there an end game? Is there an agenda here?
Well, we're always torn having to study this administration. No? It's also very difficult to assume coherence, di ba? Parang mahirap din na i-assume mo na because the Bicoy complaint was filed and that the order came directly from Malacanang. For all we know, this is just a Kalida play or a PNP play. Having said that, it's very, parang nakakabigla lang talaga na sinama si Lenny doon. Because it's purely talagang fabricated charges against her, and to actually accuse, even lang sa level ng complaint, for the police to accuse the duly elected vice president of the country of sedition is almost akin to saying you mounted a coup d'etat against me. It's almost similar, right? It's seditious, di ba? So, saan papunta yon? It could be that tapos nilamp nila, if you look at the list, it's all LP, Ocho Derecho. So, all in, baga sa baraha, church, nilagay mo na lahat doon. So, do they know something we don't? Are they preparing for something we don't know? I don't know. I mean, it's tough to hazard a guess, but I don't know. It could be na pwede ring ma-dismiss sa level ng prosecutor yan. Pero sa track record in the last 3 years, walang nadidismiss. I mean, Rappler, 8 cases, lahat yan, maski kalokohan yan, umandar. So, pwedeng, ang balikan natin in the last 3 years, let it unfold. Parang baraha lang ni Duterte yan. It's there, it's something that you could just turn
And look at
if
reactions.
and when, di ba? If and when you need it, maybe it's a placeholder in the meantime. So there's that, and also it creates a different kind of scenario sa mga kasama sa list, di ba? Then it could also be a surveillance mechanism again. So then, you assume that they meet, they get together, they get their lawyers. So lalawak yung network mo. Ito yung mga abogado nila. Ito yung ganun. So,
Very smart, actually.
it's smart. I mean,
Very smart.
It's smart naman talaga yung it's governance naman na problematic eh. Pero yung pamumulitika at pamumropaganda, dyan naman sila magaling. Sorry.
But the president also said he's old, he's tired, and he wants to go back home to Davao. May mga skeptics and cynics and critics who will say, don't believe him. Parang, kasi sinabi rin niya dati na hindi siya tatakbo, but he ran. But this time, listening to him and seeing him, totoo na ba to this time around?
I think it can't be denied that he is older and more tired because any presidency will take its toll on the president. And Duterte was never young to begin with, like in the presidency. He's now 74, and kita mo talaga, like even just watching the live streams, even just his face, seeing photos, the way he walks, iba na eh. And you can see he's gaunter, he has a weird parang brown area in his face, the sides. And he admits naman to going to the hospital and even having almost daily blood tests. So you can say that there really are health conditions that he's aware of and that his doctors are trying to warn him about. But does that mean that he's going to be less strong or less of a strongman president? I don't think so. I think he will still govern the way he has. I mean, it won't change the instinctual kind of vindictive governance and politics that he has been standing for. Hindi naman ata magbabago yun just because he's older.
Yeah.
If anything, it might even make him worse because he knows he has not a lot of time left. So he needs to get things done. He needs to make sure that nothing stands in his way. So I think that age could have many effects, and we'll just have to find out what they are in the next few years.
I think one of the effects also of the presidency has been to really, really draw a deep wedge in Philippine society. Parang, di ba, ang dami niyong in-unfriend sa Facebook, ang daming pamilyang hindi nag-uusap because of differences. But I'd like to still think na that wedge, that divide is temporary. How do you think can well, not necessarily Duterte, whoever in government, or sige, si Duterte na rin, how can we possibly heal that deep divide? May ideas pa kayo?
It's gonna take a while. Actually, ano siya eh, may mga words siya sa SONA na, there's a time for, I mean, there's a time for everything, di ba? Sabi niya, time to negotiate. Is that within the content?
Para
Is that within,
Ecclesiastes
pero
ba yun?
saan niya sinabi yun? Sa konteksto ba ng China yun?
No, I don't remember. Pero parang it was about the fact that he's ending his, I mean, minting
Yeah.
or...
But I'll end my, di ba? Term fighting, sinabi rin niya.
Oh,
Yes.
parang, let's hope
Parang parang mahirap. It will take some time for us to pick up the pieces. Kasi yung 3 years pa lang, talagang ano siya, very polarizing, very, yung namatay na lang. Kung 27,000 yan, anong orphans yan, pamilya. So, mahirap talaga. That's why, sinasabi nila, di ba, the presidency is a burden. Kasi, ang decision ng president is not so much just for the ends, di ba, or to to achieve certain objectives, but precisely the burden is such that all your decisions have lifelong consequences. So, yun yung problematic doon.
No ideas?
Sa akin, I guess, this is on polarization, no?
Yes.
At ayun, I guess, ibabalik ko rin sa Chamber itong storyang to ni Pangulo, nakita ko rin. Ayun, yung kanilang barangay, hindi rin sila makapagsalita sa amin. Natatakot sila magsalita laban sa Pangulo. Kasi makikita na nila kanilang mga kapitbahay na anti-Duterte sila. Porque gusto lang nilang sabihin yung kwento nila, anti-Duterte kaagad.
Merong label.
May label kaagad, as in sasabihin kaagad na, ay, pabago-bago yung testimony laban sa Pangulo pati palagi, hindi ka na namin kakausapin. So, nawala yung comfortable space para makapagsalita.
Yeah.
At kahit katotohanan na yun mismo, hindi nila rin masabi. Hindi ko alam.
Okay. Thank you very much for listening. We didn't intend to end on a sad note, but yes, we have 3 years left in this presidency, and we are hopeful that the targets that were set will be met, and that hopefully, as a nation, we become one as a people in the 3 years that are left. Thank you very much for listening and joining us. Till the next Newsbreak Chats, I'm Chai Hofilenia.